Yo, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Earlier this morning, Slam got another exclusive with the Big Baller brand where they announced that the ZO2 is no more, and instead what they've got is the ZO2 Prime Remix.
Don't ever do that again.
So what does that mean for everybody that bought the original ZO2? It means that you get these instead. If for whatever reason you don't want this shoe and you wanted the more generic ZO2, then, I'm sorry, there is some information on the Big Baller brand's landing page for the ZO2 Prime Remix, where you can contact somebody if you happen to have bought the original version and you don't want this one. But with all that out of the way, what we're going to be doing is going over my first impressions on this shoe. So let's get right into it. So the midsole and outsole tooling looks very familiar, especially to me. I personally had a hand in wear testing this stuff before it even hit production, not for the Big Baller brand, but for a different brand that we've seen these items on already. Now, if you guys missed the previous video that I did on this, I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. Basically, it explains everything on what's going on between this brand and the other brand that we shall not name at the moment. It. Brand Black. So I pretty much know how this is going to play out. The traction is going to be solid, and then the cushion is going to be pretty good as well. Now the upper itself is definitely different or redesigned compared to the rare metal, which is what these guys basically take parts of and put it on their own shoe. Why did they take parts from the rare metal? I'll explain that in a little bit, don't worry. But the materials on these guys are made up of a lightweight ripstop mesh. You can actually see directly through the mid panel, which is really weird. Now on top of the ripstop material, you have synthetic overlays, and then at the heel, we have a carbon fiber heel counter. How do I think the entire package is gonna play? Honestly, it'll play exactly like the rare metal does. So if you like that shoe, but you wanted to spend $400 more, be my guest. And yes, I'm being sarcastic, don't worry, especially you, LeVar, I got my eye on you. And that pretty much sums up my initial thoughts or my first impression on the ZO2 Prime Remix. Now to get to the gist of what everybody's wondering, which is why the Big Baller brand is charging $495 for a product that basically already exists, and on top of that, why are they using product that already exists? The answer to that is actually really simple. So this shoe and LaMelo's first signature sneaker, the LaMelo Ball 1, they are actually very similar looking because they use almost identical tech and design features. But the reason for that being is because they were actually helped with the design of these shoes by a new company called Santa Ana. Now what Santa Ana is a design consultancy agency, but essentially this company was created by the owner and founder of Brand Black along with the creative director of Brand Black, and it's their way of kind of giving athletes an option other than signing with a brand like Nike, Adidas, whatever. Because I don't know if you guys know this, like obviously you're guaranteed funds by signing with one of these brands, but those brands also take advantage of you, you know what I mean? Like they don't pay a lot unless you're a signature athlete. You definitely get tons of free stuff, which is great. Not that that's a big deal or anything, because I know that as an aspiring NBA star growing up, one of the biggest things that they want to do besides reach the NBA is sign an actual shoe deal, if not a signature shoe deal. But that's not the reality for a lot of these players. A lot of these guys are not signature athletes, which is why you're seeing a lot of them sign with Chinese brands who then make them signature athletes overseas, because the market over there is way different than it is here in the US. Now this Santa Ana company is not just for the Big Baller brand, you know what I'm saying? Like if you or I wanted to create our own brand of sneakers, let's just say that we want to start up the WearTesters line of basketball sneakers, we can hire Santa Ana to help us design these shoes. Not only can they help you design the shoe, since the owner of the company is an actual footwear designer with years of experience. So not only can they design the shoe for you, but they also have the capability of manufacturing these shoes because they obviously have ties with Brand Black, which has their own factory where all of their products are manufactured. Which brings me to the point of why are these two really expensive shoes sharing the same exact tooling as, cheaper models, most notably the rare metal. They're using the same exact midsole tooling and the same exact outsole tooling. Why is that? It's because manufacturing costs are extremely expensive. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, most of you guys might not. In order to create tooling, which is the mold that all of these things are made off of, it costs a load of money. Just to make one size, it can cost up to $20,000. So after you've designed your midsole and outsole, you then have to make a mold for it. That mold is made out of metal. It's basically a dish or a tray, which they then pour rubber and whatever it is that the stuff is made out of, EVA, which is a foam compound and all that stuff. And like I said, just to make one size, a left and a right and say a size 9 can cost upwards to $20,000, which is really expensive. Now say you want to then make a size run. Do you want to make it with full sizes only, or do you want to make it with full sizes and half sizes? sizes, and where does that size run start? Does it start at size 7? Where does it end? Is it size 15? So take that $20,000 and then multiply it by whatever your choice was. The manufacturing cost right there, just for the tooling alone, exceeds the average American salary, which is insane. So that's just to make the bottom portion of the shoe. That stuff doesn't even include the materials, the design patents, the design cutouts, and then you have the actual manufacturing cost for labor. This is where hiring a design consultancy agency like Santa Ana comes into play. If you don't have investors backing you with this type of money, or if you're just not rich and big balling like that, you're not starting your own brand. If you are, you're taking pre-orders and you're charging $4.95 for them. So basically what they were able to do is cut down that initial cost of making the tooling by reusing tooling from a different model, which in my opinion is smart. Not only are they doing it, but Nike's been doing this for years. I'm not talking about just recent years, like they've literally been doing this since the inception of Nike. They make tooling and then they reuse that tooling for a couple of years. Cars do this, cell phones do this, all kinds of stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just the footwear industry. Now to somebody that's not in the know, they're immediately just gonna go after them cutthroat like and be like, yo, why are you guys copying this, that, and the other? Why can't you make something yourself? And like I said earlier, unless you got $20,000 per size just lying around, or you have an investor that's a big baller like that, you're not making sneakers. You're definitely not even making your own brand like that. You know what I'm saying? You're sticking to your cheap Gildan tees with your iron-on logos. That's what you're doing. So that is why things look the same right now. Now, what one would expect them to do is take the profits from the initial sales of these two shoes, put them back into the business to then create brand new molds for the upcoming ZO2 2s or the LaMelo Ball 2s and all that stuff, whatever the shoes might be. So they might do that, or they might actually go and be like, yo, it, we're gonna save more money, use more existing tooling. That way we at least know that the performance is gonna be there, the costs are gonna be down, and at least people are gonna be happy with the product. So this is why you see companies like Nike with their team models or their more affordable budget models reuse tooling for a few years. And this is also one of the reasons, just one of the reasons, we're not talking about player salary, but it's one of the reasons why you'll see brand new models cost so damn much when they originally retail. $185 for the Air Jordan 32, I think it's $185 for the LeBron 15. If you think about it, it's cost them a shitload of money just to create the tooling to make the shoe in every size that they're going to make it available in. And that's just considering men's sizes. We're not considering any of the materials, any of the parts, any of the manufacturing costs, any of the design patents. We're not considering anything else. We're just talking about tooling costs. So basically, I'm not sitting here trying to defend the Big Baller brand or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is how businesses work, especially footwear businesses. This is not anything new. So if you would just pull back for a second, stop hating for a minute, and just realize what they're doing, it actually makes sense. It might even be what you would do if you were to create your own brand as well. Again, I'm not defending them or anything like that. I don't know them personally. I'm not buying a pair, that's for damn sure. I'm not a big baller like that. I don't got $500 for one pair of sneakers. But that is pretty much everything. Hopefully you guys understood all of that. Hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. I personally, I'm not a fan of just jumping on people and just like hating or whatever, or bashing. There's always a reason behind everything. There's always logical explanations for everything. It's not so simple or cut and dry to just be like, why are they copying? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not always just like that. There's actual reasons behind it, business reasons on top of that. Hopefully they're able to use profits from this and create something new for the next models. If they don't, I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't be mad at them either, because again, it's just a business move. You know what I mean? Like, it would just make sense, at least until they're at the point to where they feel that they can then do that. So I know that this was a long video. I apologize for that. Hopefully it was interesting at the very least. Hopefully you learned something new. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all your support. Stay tuned for the next one. And until next time, guys, have a good one.